Hello, welcome back. This is Brian with Movie Reviews from a Drawing Table. And today we're going to be talking about the 1983 made for TV movie, The Day After. Now, this dropped in November of the same year. It was directed by Nicholas Meyer, who had just come off of Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan, the best one. I don't think we ever have to argue about that one. And it basically is talks about a hypothetical of what would happen if Russia, decided, hey, let's push the buttons. And America pushed the button, and well, World War III breaks out. America gets bombed, Russia gets bombed, everybody gets bombed. It was the biggest nightmare of the 80s. So this one had a rather stellar cast, actually. Jason Robards led, uh, John Lithgow, who actually was the only actor nominated for an Emmy out of this one. Had Jo Beth Williams, who had just actually come off of Poltergeist. Steve Guttenberg. Now, truth be told, my only exposure with Guttenberg was the first four police academies and Short Circuit. And Amy Madigan was one of her first roles, only relevant because she won the Oscar for best, I think it was best supporting actress for Weapons. Yeah. And then there's a couple of little cameos like Wayne Knight and Stephen Furst from Animal House are in it. So I know that I saw this when it came out in 83 because I remember the kid getting his eyes flash fried from, staring at one of the explosions. But I didn't remember anything else about it. So, rewatching it recently, some 40 some odd years later, I kind of know why it didn't stick. Well, of course it didn't stick. I was 6 years old at the time. But also at the same time, and school in the 80s in Texas was fun. I already knew about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I already knew about Trinity. I knew what a mushroom cloud was. I knew what atomic bomb could do. And I'll be honest, with as stacked as this cast was, the acting was overly melodramatic. At I think honestly that ABC once they got the first dailies, were like, look, everybody's coming in at a 10. We need them down to about a 4. You know, you'd think with such subject matter that they would have forced bringing their all, right? I didn't feel that. And so rewatching it, seeing all this acting, which was soap opera level acting, I just had to tune out the way the words were being delivered and just focus on the story. Let's see. The music really took me out. I felt it was overly patriotic sounding. Special effects. Ironically enough, this movie won the Emmy for special effects. That for I guess 84, maybe, I don't know. And the nuclear explosions, I looked it up. The mushroom clouds were done by injecting milk in tea. So yeah, they didn't look real. They looked like that technique. And when the bombs went off and everyone turned into X-rays, yeah, I'm not gonna be one of those who says, "Oh, the special effects don't hold up." Because of course, something that was filmed in 1983, the effects are not going to hold up compared to what we can do today, right? But I'll be honest, they didn't hold up in 83 either, and yet somehow I guess the bar was so freaking low that they decided, hey, let's give this thing an award. Uh, I'll be honest, when it comes to giving a rating for this movie, I'm just going to have to go on the subject matter, but the delivery, the special effects, the music, The fact that Kansas and the surrounding area was bombarded so bad, you would have expected these areas to look like Vault 87 from Fallout 3. You can't get to that door, or maybe even a glowing sea or anything. The fact that people could walk around safely, it just, they pulled punches, and they even admitted to pulling punches at the end. There's a little card that says, hey, this is not nearly as bad as it could be. So they pulled punches. They had a meaty subject, and they just did not deliver what I felt they should have delivered. So at best, I'm going to give this a three popcorn buckets. And if I had to, do the whole little, ooh, let's check this box, it'd be a very low three, maybe a high two. At best, this movie's a mid. But that's just me. Maybe if I had seen it and remembered it in '83, I probably would have approached it differently. But all I remember was a kid getting his eyes flash fried. So sorry, movie's not for me. But in the comments below, please tell me if you've seen this movie, if you liked it, did it traumatize you, what have you. But in the meantime, please like and subscribe. This is Brian. See y'all next time. Forward.